The date is June 16th, 2018. I walk down the street, make a left, and knock at the door. After exchanging a couple pleasantries with his dad, I sit on my friend's couch. Now, I should say he is an American and he doesn't really know that much about football, but he knows this is a big moment for me and so he wants to be there. As we sit down to watch, there's hope in the air. We were about to witness history. The players walk into the stadium to roar in applause, still wearing the black tracksuits. It was a sight to see. The TV camera cuts between a couple of different Peruvian fans with their phones out, looking at their team with pride. And then, the music started. The players, with pride in their heart for their country, shouted out in one voice, Somos Libres. That song, with its beautiful brass instrumentation, has meant so much to so many people. This anthem, so beautiful and so melodic, will be playing today as I celebrate the Dia de la Patria, or Peruvian Independence Day. Hello, my name is Luis and welcome to the History of Peru YouTube channel. Today is a special day and so I wanted to cut away from my regular scheduled programming to bring you this special episode and give you a brief history on the national anthem of Peru. This is an anthem I consider to be the most beautiful anthem in the world, although I will say I am obviously biased. So let's dive in.
Somos libres, seámoslo siempre, seámoslo siempre.
For the first time in history, it was argued that men were born free and that they ought not to be under the rule of monarchs. As these ideas spread throughout Europe, they brought about revolutions against the monarchy and the reigning elite. In the Western Hemisphere, these ideas saw the first shots fired in the 13 colonies as they fought for their freedom from the British monarchy. Change begets change, and soon the French grew tired of their monarch's excess and their own lack of food. The French Revolution, unfortunately, led to the rise of one machine that was designed to kill as efficiently as possible, the guillotine. This revolution ultimately led to the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte, who crowned himself emperor under the French Revolution's ideals. When Napoleon conquered Spain, he deposed King Charles IV of Spain, which opened his lands in North and South America to free themselves from monarchical rule, whether it be from Charles IV or from Napoleon's newly appointed king, his brother Joseph Bonaparte. Well, revolution was in the air in South America, especially in Argentina and what was once known as New Granada, which we now consider Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador. As the wars of independence progressed, the last stronghold of Spanish rule was in Peru. Soon, the forces of Simón Bolívar and José de San Martín closed in. In late 1824, the Spanish were finally defeated in the Battle of Ayacucho. But look, I'm not here to go over the War of Independence. That's going to be a much larger series in the future. For now, I want to tell you about the history of the national anthem.
Que faltemos al voto solemne que la patria al eterno elevó. Que faltemos al voto solemne que la patria al eterno elevó.
Okay, so we need to back up to before Peru was finally liberated from Spanish rule, to when Peru was in the midst of the War of Independence. This movement was being led by Argentinian-born General José de San Martín. José de San Martín helped Argentina and Chile fight for their independence. In 1819, José de San Martín began preparing for his invasion of Peru. After decisive battles at Huamanga and Cerro de Pasco, and eventually Lima, José de San Martín wrote the Act of Independence of Peru. On July 15, 1821, although the famous Declaration of Independence by José de San Martín at Plaza Mayor did not occur until July 28, 1821. A few weeks later, on August 7, 1821, José de San Martín put out an order on the Ministerial Gazette. The general called for a public contest for the creation of a national anthem for the newly created country. The deadline for this contest was to be September 18, 1821. Maybe it wasn't well advertised, or maybe there weren't enough people who felt confident enough to submit their piece, but only 7 compositions were submitted. 2 of these submissions were by José Bernardo Alcedo. Alcedo was a Peruvian composer who was born in Lima and had studied at the Convento de San Agustín. He was introduced to classical music at a young age and studied the works of Mozart and Haydn. But soon the spirit of revolution took a hold of him, just like it did throughout all of South America. His early career consisted of composing liturgical works. It was in this spirit that when he heard the general's request for a national anthem, he got to work. Alcero's first submission was played second, but wasn't chosen. But he knew he still had another shot. It seemed like maybe the music just hadn't spoken to the general. His second submission was played last. It is believed that when he heard this composition, the general stood up and said, "This is it." Once the music was chosen, it was time to show it to the world. But first, lyrics were needed. This task was given to José de la Torre Ugarte. I wasn't able to find how or why this happened, but maybe his background gives us a little bit of a clue. The lyricist had received his education at San Marcos University, where he had been studying law. During this time, he was asked to decide on the question of independence by the Spanish Municipal Council of Lima. Subsequently, he was one of the signers for the Act of Independence of Peru. It may be through this connection that San Martin chose him. The anthem was first played in front of an audience on September 23, 1821 in the Theater of Lima. The first person to sing the anthem was a woman named Rosa Merino, born in Lima and known to be an exceptionally talented soprano. When the performance was completed and the final note belted out, the audience stood in rapturous applause. I mean, I can understand why. The standing ovation was a testament to the feeling of pride of the Peruvian people and to the conductor José Bernardo Alcero for this beautiful piece.
Apenas el grito sagrado, libertad en sus costas se oyó, la indolencia de esclavos sacude.
Now, normally this would be where the story ends. Songs, and especially national anthems, are usually pretty stagnant. I mean, with the importance that is placed on a national anthem, you would expect this to be especially true. But that is not the case with the Peruvian national anthem. Various administrations and politicians have attempted to change the national anthem to fit their political purpose. They have wanted to place a focus on different verses in order to make a public statement. So let us explore the most famous examples. In 1901, during the presidency of Eduardo López de Romaña, the relationship between Peru and its mother country, Spain, had begun to improve. The president believed by having an anthem that heavily referenced the unjust actions of Spanish against Peruvians would not allow for these two parties to move past their colonial history.
Largo tiempo el peruano oprimido, la ominosa cadena arrastró, condenado a una cruel servidumbre. Largo tiempo, largo tiempo, largo tiempo en silencio gimió.
In order to ease this perceived point of friction, in 1901 the president declared a new contest to rewrite the lyrics to the national anthem. The winner of this contest was a man named José Santos Chocano, also known as the Voice of America, a popular Peruvian poet and diplomat. In 1913, after over a decade of the new lyrics, the public soon called for a reversion to the old lyrics. This led to pressure for Congress to pass a law that the lyrics of the national anthem could not be changed, and, most importantly, that the chorus could not be altered in any way. In the 1970s, during the presidency of General Juan Velasco Alvarado, the government decided to change the second and third stanzas of the national anthem. This change was not enforced on a national level and was really only present in government events and in schools. Later, President Alvarado's successor, President Francisco Morales Bermudez, made an aesthetic change when he ordered for the last stanza of the national anthem to be sung instead of the first. This change was reversed a few years later. Currently, the sixth verse of the song is the only one sung at government and sporting events and is the one known as the Peruvian national anthem. I have had many friends say to me that the Peruvian national anthem is the most beautiful one they have ever heard. And that often comes from friends who don't speak any Spanish and don't know what the lyrics mean. I would agree with them. I believe the anthem does a beautiful job in addressing the struggles and pain that have been endured by the Peruvian people while also establishing a sense of inherent pride in the country, one filled with so much history and majesty. I'm always proud to show other people my national anthem, and I hope by watching this video you learned a little bit more about the history of this beautiful song. That is all for today. If you're Peruvian, make sure you go out and celebrate our Independence Day. If you're not Peruvian, but you're watching this video, I can only assume you're somewhat interested in Peru, so here's what I would do. Go look up the closest Peruvian restaurant near you and have some delicious Peruvian food. If there are none near you, go and look up some delicious Peruvian recipes. I would suggest something simple like chaufa or lomo saltado. And now when I say easy, I mean in terms of like what ingredients you'll be easily able to gather. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a little something. If you like what you saw, make sure to like the video and subscribe. It really helps me. That is all for today. Bye bye.